Apple stock has been tanking massively over the last week and a half, down 7% or $13 a share, and most investors are asking themselves whether or not it's a great time to jump ship or whether this is just a great time to dip buy before we hit a new high. So in this video, I'm going to be clearly answering that question. Is it time to jump ship on Apple, or is it time to hold our position and potentially buy more in a few weeks? So stick to the end to find out. Now, in order to answer this question, I'm going to be focusing on two sides of Apple stock. One side is the news side and all the reports that have been coming out lately about the company and what their long-term potential is with the current economic situation. And I'm also going to be looking at technical analysis on the stock and potentially what could be showing on the charts that will be happening in the next week or in the next months of time with Apple stock. Now, transitioning over to the news feed for Apple stock, this is one of the most important things that I want to share with you guys and things to keep in mind in the future when trading companies that are in all-time historic highs. So with Apple stock, you can see that in the last 2 days, 48 hours ago, they started printing news stories about how the company could potentially be doing bad in the near future and that the picture was changing for this stock. So it's really no surprise that the news stories have changed and that the mentality around this stock is quickly starting to become more negative as a result of the price action we've seen in the last week. And this is something that I always keep my eye on when considering a dip buy on a company. What are the publications saying about the stock and whether or not it's going to be moving up or down, as this can influence a lot of people to jump in on the trend and even help push stocks that are already at all-time highs just that little bit higher, which is what we are trying to see on Apple stock or potentially looking at for a long-term play. Now let's take a look at some technical analysis for Apple stock and exactly what the two scenarios are that I think will be playing out over the next month of time. So with Apple stock, we've been tracking exactly on the weekly chart what's been happening all the way back since May of 2020. And as you can see, our resistance quickly became support. We set up a trend and broke out, and that took us to the $195 high point that we saw last week from where we've been crashing down. Now, the important question for investors moving forward is whether or not we are going to be going all the way back down to 135 or whether we're going to be holding the price level at 181 and potentially seeing a bounce. So what would that look like on the chart, and potentially what signs can we look for that will give us an indication on whether we are planning to hold the price or potentially going lower? Now, as you can see, we had resistance at 156. That was over here at the lower price level, as you can see, but we also had our main resistance level at 176, which is where we broke out from in the last month and a half. But now we are seeing a retrace back to that level, and that's where the two scenarios that I think can happen will be playing out. So in scenario number one, we see a cup and handle pattern where the chart goes like this and bounces back up to new highs. This is the best case scenario for Apple stock and for the market as a whole, as we want to continue seeing that upwards motion into December. Not usually what happens into Christmas, but if we can get this type of movement, this will be mega positive for the stock market. But then again, the second scenario that we could see, this one could be a little more dreadful, is that we break below the level or potentially break and retest below this level and go all the way back to our long-term support at $130 a share before coming back up again. Now, I don't think that we would be coming down all the way to 130 anytime soon. This would probably take us all the way till February or March of next year, but potentially we could start entering into a cycle of downturn for the entire stock market if this $177 to $175 price level is broken below on Apple stock and we hold below for at least 1 week. So that's what I'll be looking for in the next few weeks of time. Does Apple bounce at this 177 to 175 level and look for the $200 a share price range, or are we going to potentially see a break and retest, bounce from this 175 downwards and see a retest of 130, which is our ultimate support level from back in May of 2022? So guys, guys, if you enjoyed this information or if you want to stay up to date, I'll be keeping you very up to date with videos almost every other day here on this channel about the stock market and about specifically Apple stock. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.